Woo! Praise the Lord! Our prayers have been answered because Roe V Wade is overturned. Hello, Catholic Controversy here, and it is a great day here in America because Roe V Wade is overturned. We are one step closer to ending abortion here in America. And this is just so great to hear because I have been personally impacted by abortion in, I guess I would say, a negative way. Or at least I've been personally impacted in a positive way of the pro-life talking points against arguments for abortion. But I'll get to that first because if you don't know, I'm pro-life. I'm very pro-life. I have made multiple videos on this subject matter. They're probably going to be recommended videos after this. And pro-life protests and stuff, that was the only actual political demonstrations that I've ever been a part of. My school, I was in the Students for Life Club back in college, and I went to the March for Life in 2012 or 2013. I don't remember exactly which, but it was like I think it was my sophomore year of college that I did it. Maybe it was my junior. No, it was my sophomore year, I think, yeah. And it was great, and I did some on-campus protests as well. And even though I was in college Republicans, I didn't really do anything with them except go to the meetings. But it was like with Students for Life, I did stuff with them after meetings. I did stuff with them on the weekends. And as I said, I went to the March for Life in Washington, D.C. with them. So, yeah, I am, needless to say, I'm pretty pro-life. And it's only until maybe 4 years ago did it really kind of hit me why it makes so much sense for me to be pro-life. So I'm going to tell you some stories about why certain pro-choice, pro-abortion arguments are absolute bullshit. Yeah, I'm going to just say it right now because it makes me that passionate to say, no, that argument is bullshit. So, yeah. What is one argument? Well, I have heard the argument that if someone has just way too many kids, then, it's only reasonable for them to abort the child, abort the baby, because that child would not be able to have that great of a life experience because the mother and the father, if the father's in the situation, wouldn't really be able to handle the child, especially one that might be a little bit more of the have a lot of propensities to being a lot of work and a lot of difficulty, and they just end up in the system, and it just be bad. Well, my godfather, who isn't able to have children, he adopted a baby that was in that situation. He is my little god brother, and he is, I think, 7 years old now. And if his mom made the wrong choice, chose abortion, his family would have been a lot more empty, and my life would have been a lot more empty as well because, well, I don't see him very often. I really love him. He's a great guy, and when I do see him, he and I get along so well. And, there are people out there that want your child, but, maybe that's a little bit too simple for you. Let's go with something that's a little bit bigger. Teen pregnancy. Yeah, there we go. Teen pregnancy. That is a big one because, you don't want to ruin some teen's life over the fact that they made a poor decision and they're having a baby is going to make things so difficult for them. Let's just let them abort those. Okay, well, then you just killed my god sister because that's her story. My godfather, they're all, as I just said, their other adopted child was the product of teen pregnancy. And it's basically the classic teen pregnancy story. The mom was, I think, like 17 in high school. Her boyfriend wasn't really in the picture, just straight up abandoned her when he found out that she was pregnant, and they don't know who the father is. And, if the mom wasn't pro-life, then chances are my god sister would be dead too. And that would that also really sucked. I mean, yeah, I'm not nearly as close to her, but my wife is, she really likes her, and she definitely brings a lot of light to their family and everyone around them. And I think she's about 10 now. So 10 years, 10 years ago, she could have just been killed because of inconvenience. So yeah, but let's okay, those examples aren't the best. Those are some of the weaker examples of the pro-choice position. Let's go with something that everyone really talks about. Go with disability. Yeah, disability. So, uh, what if we know that the child is going to have Down syndrome or some other disability? Well, then you just killed my mom's best friend's children because she adopted them from China because they had Down syndrome, and she got married much older, and it would not be safe for her to bear children. And they don't even try. And so what they did is they adopted two Down syndrome babies from China, and they're really great. I don't see them at all. I think I've only met them like twice because they live over in New Zealand, but you know, it brings them significant joy because they got married in like their late 40s, I think. So they wouldn't have been able to really have children, and especially considering that the wife has type 1 diabetes, so it really would not be okay for her to bear children. So yeah, it's a very difficult situation, but they're still able to be parents in that regards. So yeah, that's great. And their kids are very happy. They're flourishing in their New Zealand life, and they're just having a grand old time, and their family is complete. It's a really great story, and my mom is the godmother to her daughter. So we got that. But let's maybe Down syndrome. Down syndrome, it's not the worst of the different handicaps. Let's go with something serious, like someone with severe cerebral palsy that was 20 days premature. Like, I think it was about a month premature. Yeah, let's go with about a month premature, where not even able to diaper the baby because the skin hasn't even fully formed. Surely in that situation, that would be okay to abort. Well, you just killed my uncle. Yeah. So here is a really terrible story. So when my grandma gave birth to my very premature uncle, there were complications during birth, and he had severe cerebral palsy, like really bad. He had no control of his legs and almost no control of his arms, and very little control of like any motor functions at all. And he was only able to he would have only been able to read at like a third grade reading level, I think that's what it was. And when he was delivered, the doctor that delivered him came in and said, your son, it's really bad. He's never going to walk. He's never going to talk. He's never going to know who you are. You might as well leave him on a mountain and forget that you even had him. That is a true story. My grandfather almost killed that doctor for saying something that vile. And you know what? In states like, I think it's like New York, that would have been perfectly legal. That would have just been an abortion, a post-birth abortion. My uncle could have been post-birth aborted, and it would have been he would have been the perfect candidate, if you will. Because, let's see, he was severely underdeveloped, and he was going to be severely handicapped all of his life, and it would have been a very big burden on the parents. And what ended up happening? Well, he lived to be 50. He was a bright spot in everyone's life. He made everyone happy. He was an amazing person. Yeah, he couldn't walk, but he could talk. He could hold on a conversation. And he knew who everyone was. He knew people, he would be able to remember people better than neurotypical people, better than people who didn't have brain damage and cerebral palsy, because that's what he would do. And he was just a great guy. He brightened my life. My life would be significantly different without him if he was never born or if he was post birth aborted. If my grandparents really did leave him on a mountain and forget that they even had him. And he really improved my mom's life because it really helped form her worldview and recognize just how great life is and how you can't just let setbacks get you down. Same thing for my grandparents. They had a bit of a rougher life. I mean, my grandpa, he was a counselor and it was always a little bit difficult. They always lived in lower income housing, but they still made do and they still had a great time. They still enjoyed life. And even with the challenges, it still ended up being good. So let's see here. There's got to be some example out there. Oh, I know. The best example of all. Life of the mother. Yeah. If the pregnancy is so difficult on the mom that it's possible that she might die with bearing this child and giving birth, then the only logical, sane thing to do is to abort the child. That is the only compassionate thing to do because you're going to be killing the mother. Well, then you would have killed my mother and my father, and therefore I would not be talking to you right now. I would not be making this little internet video for you right now because let me tell you, my grandma on my mom's side, my mom's mom, she gave birth to children so close together that my mom almost killed her. She had like so much iron deficiency and so many other just health complications after giving birth to my mom that, and this was going on throughout all the pregnancy. She had to eat loads and loads of spinach and other things in order to try to replenish the iron that she was just rapidly losing. And probably drink a lot of milk because she was losing so much calcium. It was really, really rough. My grandma almost died giving birth to my mom and carrying my mom. And if my grandma was not vehemently pro-life, then it's very possible that she would have killed my mom and I would not be here. And the same thing goes for my dad. My dad was the youngest of his siblings, and my dad's side doesn't talk about this all that much, but they have mentioned that it was very difficult on her. And she had to have a hysterectomy after giving birth to my dad because it was such a difficult delivery and just so bad. And in other situations, if she didn't believe that it's a baby in there, I want to push out my baby, I want to raise my baby, even if it kills me, then my dad wouldn't have been born. And if either of my parents were aborted, I wouldn't be here today. So there you go. 5 different examples for why I am so vehemently pro-life, why I am so unapologetically pro-life, why I believe that abortion is wrong in basically every single circumstance. It is wrong in every single circumstance. Look at any sort of videos and documentaries on conceived in rape, conceived in incest. And those stories are just heart-wrenching. And to think that their life could have been snuffed out because it would have been inconvenient, it would have been bad, traumatic. That it's just disgusting. And I am so thankful that we finally struck down Roe v. Wade. And we are one step closer. We are one giant step closer to ending abortion in America completely. And I am just so thankful that we are so close to there because those are my stories. All that has happened to me. I have been so positively impacted by pro-life beliefs that I honestly would not be here today if abortion really was just a medical procedure. Think about that. Think about that. Think about everyone that you know. You don't know their story. And that's my story. Now you know. You think I should be dead? You think I should never have existed? You think that my uncle should never have existed? My uncle who lived to be 50 years old and was everyone loved him. That my mom's best friend, that she should not be able to have a family because the child has a mental problem, that because it's a difficult situation that child should just be aborted, and therefore my godparents who cannot have children should not be able to have their children. Think about that. This has been Catholic Controversy, signing off. May God bless you.